The Patriots were up 21-0 before the half and kicked the field goal to make it 24 to what, 7 going into the half? Something like that. No, they was up 21-0. Point is, it's like y'all up by 3 scores, meaning the Patriots, and they didn't even flinch. It's almost like, Josh Allen just gets his helmet. He's like, all right, well, fellas, let's go. It all started with James Cook making him a quick TD, you know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, everything just kind of sprouted after that. Don't make no sense. But I tell you one thing, I will give that boy Henderson from Ohio State his props because he done had 2 long touchdowns. He's so fast in the open field, bro.
He been toting that pill.
He's so fast.
Kind of like Gibbs.
Yeah, he is like Gibbs.
Like Gibbs is so fast.
But man, and you know what's kind of funny? Even whenever you watch him take off, you know who he kind of looks like in the open field?
Who that?
LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah.
That little giddy up.
Get busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of got that LaShawn McCoy in him, bro.
People sleep on Shady.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he did get put into the Eagles Hall of Fame or something like that, so he got his flowers.
I even liked him in Buffalo whenever he used to play for Buffalo. It's funny because when you watch LaShawn, you think like, oh, okay, let's see what he does when he gets in the cold weather. And it's like we almost forget, like he went to Pitt. You know what I mean? Then he played for Philadelphia Eagles, so he was pretty much at home. You know what I'm saying?
He know how to play with them numb toes.
Yeah, because like the way he jukes, you would think he's kind of like
who? You talking about?
LaShawn McCoy.
Oh yeah.
He kind of looks like he would be playing more in warm weather. How much he jukes?
Yeah.
You don't see that from too many backs that are up north.
Hell no.
You either see straight liners or usually dudes that be trucking. You don't see really shifty. That's usually on the East Coast or West Coast or brothers down in Texas. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I used to always love watching his game. It's just amazing. But yeah, Henderson got that game, bro. Like he's going to be so good down the stretch. Right now, they're so young. They're so young as a squad, at least, at the head of the snake, meaning at the quarterback position. So the energy has, it's a little bit young, but man, if they can figure out how to close games, because who knows, maybe this is a game losing to the Buffalo Bills. Maybe this is a game they actually needed to do. They needed to lose this game so that way they can kind of learn how to close going into the playoffs. Because you need to get all your little glitches out the way before going into the playoffs.
Right.
And a team like Buffalo is kind of crazy because they both are prepping each other, in my opinion, for playoffs.
Yep.
So
1,000%. I mean, one thing watching that game, the Bills, man, it made me really respect Josh Allen a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's good. I know he's a top talent. And we see him do what he does. But the way in which he carries the team through in regards to the plays he makes at the right times, when they need to be made, he's got help for sure. Also, the defense. The Bills' defense does a good job with doing what they need to do at the right time. The Bills are looking very mature to me, to your point.
Yes.
I think those bouts with KC and those bouts of like being on the cusp and almost making it, barely making it through, I think that it really done them a solid because they're showing a maturity, right? They know how to fight back. They know how not to get unraveled. They know how not to get too rattled. And they know how to grit it out and grind it out and make the right adjustments to fight back because New England had their number. And I'm looking like, how in the world do you let the...
Man, I know.
And it has to be, we beat them once already. We're up over 20 points. It's over. Let's chill. We got it. Oh, they got to score, no biggie. We're going to score again. Oh, they got to score, no biggie. Oh, snap, 3-0 again. 3-0 again. Oh, snap, they scored again. Oh, snap. Now you... And they got all that momentum now.
Yep.
And you find yourself learning a tough lesson.
You can't do that against good teams.
No, and that's a playoff lesson because it's one and done in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get another opportunity. So to your point, things we talked about in the past, a really well-timed loss is actually really healthy for playoff contending teams because it really helps you identify the holes in your game and the gaps that you really don't need to be exposed once it's one and done. Because if somebody comes in and exposes them gaps, and you get first, second level in the playoffs, you're going home,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not guaranteed that you'll be back. And so, I think
That's
they
all she
needed that
wrote.
loss, man. And kudos to the Bills and Josh Allen doing what he does, and he's got a good cast of guys, man, that just play some good backyard football. That's what it looks
That
like.
literally is what it
That's
is.
what they play, bro. They're like the best backyard football playing team in the league. They play some hell of a backyard football. And the Ravens used to be right up there. I don't know what they got going on. I think they have some O-line issues or something, but the Ravens used to be really good at backyard football. Rumble around, wham, get a good big break on the run and then throw it deep, heave hole. But the magic ain't really magicking right now for them. But the Bills are in full effect with that backyard football. For real.
I feel like they adopted that from the Chiefs, man. They literally have been building to beat the Chiefs, I feel like, for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And they finally feel like they find the antidote. I always compare the Chiefs and the Bills to the college football team of Georgia and Alabama.
For sure.
Alabama used to always torch Georgia. They used to always find ways to close out games against Georgia. And finally, Georgia kept building their team up and then obviously building their confidence up, and they eventually end up overcoming Alabama. And now they're the dominant force in the SEC. This situation, I feel like the Bills, this got to be it. This has to be the season. I don't want to put them in that category of like the Cowboys, like, oh, this is our year. But based on battle tests, not just winning games. I'm just looking at battle tests. It's not like they have the best record in the, in the AFC.
Right.
They don't have the best record. And they've had some up and down games. They've had games where y'all shouldn't have been behind in the first place. Actually, they had quite a few of those type of games, honestly.
Yep.
But it's the fact that they still finding ways to close it. Yeah, man. They are looking like a team that is ready to make a run. Now, injuries obviously play a big role in the NFL, but hey, there's no excuses.
That light shines on everybody.
Yep, there's no excuses because, man, you want to talk about no excuses. Just to throw some news out there around the league right now.
Yeah, let's get it.
Micah Parsons tore his ACL. Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL. I just feel so bad for them because, they're such key players for their team. And even so, I mean, I feel bad for everyone that would go through any injury, but it's tough whenever them two are like the head of the snake and almost the end of the snake. And what I mean by that is like Patrick Mahomes is like the head of a snake, right, of a team.
Mm-hmm.
And then because Michael Parsons plays on defense, he's like the end of a snake that you cut off where his tail is still dangerous. Like I'm thinking about like a rattler. You know what I'm saying? Like you cut off the rattler of the snake. You know what I'm saying? Like it loses its identity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like he's part of Green Bay's identity in the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's tough, man, but that's part of the league, man. You think about at the end of every NFL season, you'd be like, oh, this team won a Super Bowl. And it's like, oh, I can't believe they won a Super Bowl, man. It's all about who can stay healthy a lot of times.
You know what I mean?
Like it's a lot of key factors into it.
That's it, bro.
Got to be able to stay healthy. So just want to throw that out there. I want to talk about them because I know that's tough.
It's really tough. And I saw the ACL procedure.
Mm-hmm.
And it really helped me understand why it's so challenging for most athletes to come back in the same form after that surgery. Mm-hmm. That is a very invasive surgery. Man, they do so much to the knee repairing that doggone ACL.
Man.
I mean, they got to go in there, rip it out and tear it out and put screws here and screws here, like into the bone. Like, what? Not everybody's going to respond the same way to that.
Yeah.
Some people may, but you're going to need some assistance coming back. You're going to have to get on all the BPC and all the TD5. You're going to have to get on everything you can to try to mitigate the inflammation and the residual, just complications of that surgery. It's a hell of a surgery.
Yeah.
Prayers go up to them, man, because they're still, young in their career. But they're great talents and great athletes. And I think they'll recover really well. We'll see. Hopefully they come back true to form because they got so much life, so much meat still left on the bone. It's like Micah still has a lot of career left in front of him.
Yeah, he
But
does.
sometimes we don't take that into consideration. When these great guys at the pinnacle of their career have an injury, we take it light because we don't really know what they're going through. We see so many people come right back, right? We just think, okay, he's out a year, he'll be back next year. And then they come back on the field and they expect the same guy. And sometimes when you get a little different guy, people are just hard on him. They're ready to run you out the league, like Odell Beckham. They're ready to run you on out the league.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know how hard that is to be at the top pinnacle elite level of professional sports and movement and athleticism? Get your knee tore out the frame, cut all up, and then to come back and get right back to it and get right back busy. I think we need to appreciate the guys who can do it a little bit more and have a little more patience with the guys who struggle, you know what I mean, trying to find and come back true to form. But anyways, great point. Prayers go up to those guys, man.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the playoff picture is looking, looks like it's getting pretty cemented.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh.
The Houston Texans, you want to talk about cementing who they are and that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. You have a defense that is finding ways to create turnovers.
Man.
That's a big deal. You got a solid tight end, Dalton Schultz. You have an explosive wide receiver, Nico Collins, that produces wide receiver one capabilities. He's showing how much he is a wide receiver one, of how explosive his plays are. You have a healthy CJ Stroud now, a confident CJ Stroud. I think that's a huge thing. You got a confident head coach. I mean, and that all of that translates all the way down to the entire team. Clearly, yeah, a defense that's tough to create yardage on too. Like, their pass defense is good, but their run defense is extremely, extremely advanced. It's going to be very tough down the stretch for a lot of teams that have to face them.
Sheesh.
And like I said, barring injury and everything like that, they're going to be one of the more dangerous teams in the AFC. And who knows? Who knows? Like, the way things are going right now, there's so much optimism in the league when it comes to playoff pushes and which teams truly, truly have a chance to make something happen right now. Who knows? Maybe CJ Stroud may be like, hey, it's my time, and y'all didn't even know it. Y'all didn't even see it coming. I mean, when I think about talent-wise, and you have a Jalen Hurts, right? Then you think about the type of team that he had around him last year with Saquon Barkley, a great defense, key weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Texans literally got the same thing. So if you want to tell me about talent, talent for talent, CJ Stroud versus Jalen Hurts, I don't see no difference in CJ Stroud having just as much capability of winning the Super Bowl as Jalen Hurts did last year.
Yeah, that's strong.
It's kind of strong.
That's strong. You can't count anybody out. It's any given Sunday, and that's what it comes down to. And when you got a tough defense, you can't really rule anybody out. I don't quite trust that offense yet.
Yeah.
I don't quite trust that they're mature enough for the playoffs, for the Super Bowl, not the playoffs. I don't doubt that they're going to have a good showing in the playoffs. But, CJ, his first year did make it past the first round, I believe. And so, that shows that he has the poise. I just don't know if they have enough weapons. We're dealing with a backup running back. Mixon is out. You got Chubbs and you got Marks, which they're doing a job. And you got your receiver having a little glap. What's his name again?
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins. You got Nico Collins, who is a certified dog. Okay, he's certified number one for sure. But what happens when you put a box around Nico? And I'm thinking about teams like the Lions. I'm thinking about teams like the Rams. That's a lot of firepower that you have to answer for. And I think if we come into a defensive bout to where it's a standstill, I think some of those teams, if you face them in the Super Bowl, may have just one too many weapons above and beyond that Texan offense. But you never know, because like you say, man, that defense is a bully. They're going to beat you up.
They low-key
They're going to beat you up, man. They're going to beat you down.
They will hit you too.
And I love to see it. And they going to beat you down. And it's one thing about, a lot of a pretty car and a Lamborghini, it ain't really used to a lot of wear and tear. So we'll see if they can stay consistent on offense, barring any injuries or any setbacks. You never know.
You never know.
They could.
The optimism is this. If I was a Houston, Texas fan, Houston, Texas playing the AFC, one of the more optimistic situations right now in the NFL. No Patrick Mahomes.
You're right.
So the Chiefs are out. An inconsistent Baltimore Ravens team. An inconsistent Pittsburgh Steelers team. A young Patriots team. And a strong but inconsistent Buffalo Bills team. Now, the Bills can close out games and stuff like that, but who's to say that some of these games have been a little bit of a taken for granted and it's going to come back and bite them? I don't know. But when I think about the optimism of the AFC right now and the Texans being in the AFC, it's actually a good situation. So let's think about how they're finishing. They have the Raiders this Sunday, and then they're at the Chargers the following Sunday, and then they finish with the Colts. So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay.
They're going to win out.
Boom.
They're going to win out.
I think they're going to win out. I think they may stumble a little bit against the Chargers because Harbaugh going to have, who knows, because all I'm looking at is the Chargers beating the Chiefs. Granted, the situation wasn't ideal.
Everybody beat the Chiefs.
True, but I think about psychologically, true. I'm thinking.
Now they think they the shit.
Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, shoot, we beat the Chiefs. Baby. But sometimes a team with that kind of talent, if you give them confidence, you just never know. Because we've seen it in NFL history when you think about a team that we didn't think that was going to do good. For example, y'all ready for this one? Blake Bortles and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I forgot what season that was, but had to have been about a decade ago now. But I was just thinking, man, Blake Bortles, I remember him coming out of Central Florida. And I was all like, man, he was a pretty good player, but I didn't even know how, he even created the plays to even make things happen. And they ended up going to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's just all these situations. I mean, Seattle, I think about Seattle. Yeah, we knew about the Legion of Boom, but we didn't know who was going to be at quarterback when Russell Wilson came out.
You ain't lying.
We didn't know. No one knew. And then, boom, they made something happen. I even think about, Minnesota Vikings whenever they had Brett Favre at the time. I mean, yeah, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but how they did, you just never know. Some teams that don't seem like they're supposed to be there, they find ways to get there. I mean, I even think about, man, even the Saints. I remember the Saints when they won the Super Bowl. I was all like, man, I remember whenever they was popping Brett Favre, bro. They was giving him that defense was popping that year. That year and in that Super Bowl game, everybody who had on a purple jersey was getting hit. Period. It was non-negotiable.
Boy,
that type of mentality. There's only a few teams right now that I can think of that have that type of mentality. And I think we've already discussed it because Houston's probably the hardest hitting team in the league right now, bro. Pound for pound, they may be the hardest hitting team in the league.
Houston is tough.
They're tough, bro. I'm just calling for. I'm not even a Texas fan,
but
I'm
board.
Yeah, across the board.
There, their median line of talent across the board, from the secondary to the line to linebackers, is just tough.
Whenever I seen how they played they played with their backup quarterback, and they still was playing tough. What? I said, oh, okay, they trying to win for real.
Sometimes you need to see something. I think that actually worked in CJ's favor, the backup quarterback coming in, and just his different, outlook, on reads and everything. I think it helped CJ unlock a different aspect of his game, right? A little bit more of the game management, because he's always kind of come out there looking for the big shot. And the first few games of the season, it was stagnant on the offense. If it wasn't something big open, then he kind of hold it, and then 3 and out. And it's just but then when that other quarterback got in there, you saw the offensive move. You saw the offense move. You saw the offense move. And you're like, Texans, what? With the backup quarterback, what are they doing? But they kept winning.
Yeah.
And you're like, they won again. And they won again. I'm like, well, hold on. What the hell are they doing with this backup quarterback? Who is this guy? And then CJ came back in. And then now you see him kind of pick up where he left off. Like, oh, okay. So that's how we can keep this thing clicking and going. Sometimes you just need to see
See
it with your same tools. You see somebody else come in, use your tools, be like, oh man, you can build a hell of a wall with this, man. You just got to take this screwdriver over here. Then you're like, man, I didn't even think about using that screwdriver over there.
Mm-hmm.
Man, same thing that happened with Carolina, Bryce Young.
Yeah, Bryce Young.
When the old boy took the reins,
mm-hmm.
and he kind of was watching, and he saw what he did with the same tools. Then Bryce Young came back like, I get it now.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do with the red. Okay, you got to tighten this first, and then. So sometimes that works out in their favor, but 1,000% Texans are tough, and they got the benefit of the AFC. Now the Broncos got a big record. I ain't sold. Nothing against the Broncos. I like what I see, but I'm not sold on championship. But they're kind of in that same position with the Patriots. They got a young quarterback who's balling, a strong defense, some good weapons. The Bills, you got to watch out for them. I'm not sold on the Jags, Steelers, or Chargers coming out of the AFC yet, but you can't rule anybody out as any given Sunday. The NFC, to me, is the big show. You got the Seahawks that are kind of in the same position as the Texans. They got a very strong defense, and they got some really strong weapons on offense. However, your boy does have a little bit of the pressure bug. Quarterback.
Yeah, he does.
A little bit.
You talking about for Seattle?
For Seattle.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of the pressure bug, so if they can figure out once they get to the playoffs, and if he has early struggles, they can figure out how to get the ball out of his hands and use the other weapons on that team. I think then they can kind of roll through maybe the first, second round, right? But if they just go in there and try to put it all on their shoulders, it's going to be the same thing happening in Minnesota. You got to know your personnel, your guys, man. You got to help them out. Like they help you all year by performing well and staying locked in. You got to help them out when it comes time for their Achilles heel to show. So that's the only thing about Seahawks. Because once that pressure kind of puts on, it's kind of like the Lions in golf. Once that pressure hits, who I don't think people want to see is them Eagles.
They're so weird.
They better hope they don't come out of they better hope they don't make it to the playoffs. Eagles are like the Chiefs. You don't want to see them when it comes one game on the line. You don't want to see them.
That's why I said they're so weird. Because they play possum on you because they look like they're having a fallout. But it's just like, they're still trying to figure out the system that they're in. Because, like they have offensive coordinator. I feel like every single year.
Every year.
So having to understand how different teams play certain play designs and schemes and blocking schemes and stuff like that. And how they do have different coverages based on the route trees and stuff. It's like they're still experimenting. And it's almost like they're still putting it together. And then that onslaught they had last night against the Raiders. And then it's almost like they're like, surprise. The common fan be like, oh, it's the Raiders. Hey, newsflash, still an NFL team. Any given Sunday, you still got to go out there and execute, and they did it. So you don't know what you're gonna get. But I mean, hey, like you said, one game, you don't want to see the Eagles. They slip in there. Well, I'm sorry, y'all. Fly Eagles fly.
You better not let them slip in there. They're gonna mess around and get number 2.
Yeah.
You better not. The Bears, they look solid. I don't know if they're championship winning ready yet, but they look really good. I think the youth at the quarterback, might make it past the first round, second round. We'll see though. Rams look good.
Consistent.
Rams look
quietly consistent on the radar, and we won't talk about them too heavy until they start making these playoff pushes, and the whole world will see. Stafford may be his era.
He back in that form.
Of getting rings. Like all that hard work that he had with Megatron out there in Detroit, and then he got blessed to go to the Rams and be around a great supporting cast, a great coach, you know what I mean, and and great receivers. And he has great receivers right now who are hungry and ready to rock and roll again. I mean, who knows, man? Because you think about it, the toughest team in the NFC, it will be the Eagles and the Rams. And who knows? Maybe that's the NFC Championship game.